Hi, everyone. I'm Joe Maselter. I am the president of VSM, and you are at our first edition of Around the Horn podcast, sponsored by three wonderful people here that we'll get into. This is Ryan Schroder. He is the owner of several companies, but the owner of VSM. Hi, Ryan.
Hey, thanks for having me. What a wonderful idea.
What a great introduction, Ryan. Thank you for sharing. We have Bryan Kerswell here with Quicken Loans. Bryan?
Oh, ouch.
Bryan Kerswell with Fairway Mortgage. Love the idea, love the concept, and excited to get rocking.
And finally, we have John Selle with Liberty Title.
That's just cold, man. I'm out of here. I'm John Selle with Cambria Title.
John was reading off some fun facts earlier, this date in history, and the NFL started?
NFL started in 1917.
I thought it was 100 years in the NFL. Weren't they just
No,
out
sorry. That was the NHL, Montreal, and...
Oh, just a different
nobody
league in
cares.
sport?
Yeah,
Nobody
it was
cares
a
about that.
different league in sport. Yeah.
I bring this up because we are ripping off this concept of Around the Horn from ESPN if you have not seen it before. My name, again, is Joe Maselter. I'm going to be hosting.
Direct any lawsuits to Joe.
The first ever version of it. So I want to go over the rules real quick so you guys understand the basics of this.
Schroder.
Unfortunately, I will not be having a mute button today, much like Tony on the show. So when I say stop or I go like that, you guys need to stop. I will award points for valid arguments and having support for those arguments. I will deduct points for arguments that make no sense. Bryan,
yeah, good.
I will also be the timer for everyone, so I'm not going to go and look at my phone. I'm just going to decide when you should be done talking. So this is going to be...
So you're going to let other people talk longer than others?
Yes.
Okay.
You're irrelevant.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do 4 rounds. They're going to go really fast. I'm going to say a topic. I'm going to come up with a couple facts about that topic, and then I'm going to let you guys give your opinions on those topics. Most of them on this first version are going to be kind of random topics, but somewhat related to real estate. I even threw in a sports one for you sports fans out there. So we're going to rotate who goes first each time. So we'll start with Ryan, second round Bryan, third round John. We did a bonus 4th round that everyone will be involved in. At the end of 4 rounds, we're going to cut somebody down. At the end of 5 rounds, we'll cut that second person down. The last person standing is going to give a spiel for 1 minute on whatever they want, similar to on the show.
Oh.
So if you want to talk about title work,
That sounds riveting.
title.
I just
wait around for that one.
1 minute of underwriting conversations.
I'll tell you what we talk about at the bar when I take people out.
All right. Are you guys ready for our first topic?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Hold
I need
on
like a little
1
sign behind me
second.
like Woody and just write random stuff on it.
All right, I'm going to read 2 things really quick for you. Life in St. Paul flows deep with tradition, wide with talent and diversity, and strong in economic and cultural vitality. Our character is in our people. Minneapolis is the state's most populous city, spreads out on a relatively level plain. Within its limits are 22 lakes and lagoons and over 170 parks. Ryan, what is better, St. Paul or Minneapolis?
They both have their merits, but I'm especially partial to St. Paul, where I've officed here for the last 9 years. Mostly because, it's not quite as crack infested as Minneapolis. So I don't know. Was that a good answer?
I would certainly hope he gets points deducted from that.
And may God have mercy on our souls.
That is great.
Bryan.
Man, I do love both cities. I have spent a lot more time in Minneapolis the last couple of years since I got in this industry. Love a lot of the shops in the Minneapolis, but I do have to go to the St. Paul area. Been in St. Paul or surrounding suburbs for 20 years, and something about the St. Paul small feel, hardworking people. Love it.
Still not sure what your answer is, but go ahead, John.
I hate St. Paul. I hate driving in St. Paul because you can't find your way around. The streets are all backwards. Not enough restaurants, as I feel. Just Minneapolis to me, it's just a better city. Now, I do enjoy St. Paul, but if you give me a choice, it's always going to be Minneapolis.
Who had a more definitive answer, me or John?
I'm going to go ahead and give you your point totals for the first round. How does that sound? Ryan, I awarded you 1 for officing out of here. I deducted 1 for every other thing you said. Bryan, you didn't really say a whole lot at all. But the shops and the people that are hardworking, I gave you 2 points total. I did not duct any points.
Well, I didn't talk about crackheads or...
No, but you went about 30 seconds without really saying a whole lot.
I ended with St. Paul. Okay, okay.
John, I gave you 3 points for your distinctive answer, and then at the very end, just, adding on a little flavor.
Thank you.
At the end of the first round, and I know we'll get these point totals.
Do you agree?
At the end of the first round, and I've got to keep track. I was going to keep track on my computer. We got Bryan with 2, Ryan with 1, and John Selle. No, Ryan has 0.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was doing the math when you said +1, -1.
All right, for this round, we are going to let Bryan speak first, and it's a heavy hitter one here, so
let's go. Use
your time wisely, unlike last time. Where do you see the real estate market headed in 2020 and beyond?
I like the question. It's going to be another strong year. From what I see of interest rates, are going to hover around the high 3s, and I really see that continuing into 2021. Competitive housing market, so I think there's going to be a lot of competition, and home values are going to increase, I'd say, another 2.5–3%. So it's going to be a strong 2020 heading into 2021. I'm excited.
Much more pointed. I like that.
Knock it off.
John.
I agree that I think 2020 is going to be a very strong year. The only thing I'm worried about is this election and what it does. The good news is our president has no control over the Fed, and he makes the decisions. If rates go up, it will be extremely difficult again. When they get to hover around 4.25, 4.5, people seem to slow their processes down. Being in the title business, part of our business is refinance, and we see a tremendous dip when it goes over 4%. So I think the housing market's strong. I'm a little bit, again, worried that there's going to be a lot of multiple offers again on homes because there's just no inventory. The city of Minneapolis and the city of St. Paul always talk about affordable homes. Well, the question is, where are you going to put them? There's not enough land in Minneapolis or St. Paul to put these homes. So what did Minneapolis do? Now they're saying you can buy a house, put up a triplex or a duplex now.
You're on fire right now, so I haven't cut you off, but I got to go over to Ryan here. But good answers.
I also think that the real estate market is going to be a little bit more of the same in 2020. Interest rates continue to be low, though I do not credit that to a natural equilibrium, but more of manipulation. The affordability index is also strong and one of the most important factors. Specifically here to the Twin Cities market, we have extremely low unemployment and highly educated people, highest rate of millennial home ownership in the United States. So I expect it to be very competitive, multiple offers, with a lot more new homes being built because that continues to be a bit of the rage. And then gentrification within the cities, more cities like St. Louis Park and Edina and Richfield and whatever, basically just people knocking down $500,000 houses and building $1.5 million houses in their place. So for the time being, I think it's going to continue.
Great round, everybody. Everybody's going to be awarded points this round. Bryan, I gave you 3 points.
Seems like too many, but keep going.
I gave you 3 points. Kicking off was hard for this one because it gave these guys all the ammo to keep going.
And now I know I have a lot more time to talk based on how these guys.
Especially John, yeah.
Yeah.
John, I gave you 5 points. That was a big round for you. You brought up some new topics that I think we're good. Ryan, I gave you 6.
I was going to say at least 10. If
bringing up millennials, gentrification, unemployment, all that stuff, I think was a solid round. And it brings you back into
contention,
the realm of sanity with everybody else. So,
you notice I stepped up my game this second round because I forgot I was here to win.
After 2 rounds, John Selle is winning.
Well, not for long.
Just going to leave it at that. We're going to start with John.
He gets to go first this time.
We're going to start with John, so he's at a disadvantage
I think
for
it
this
is
question.
disadvantage to go
And
first.
this one, my people might ramble on for a while. So we're gonna have to be careful here. But the Twins have had no big offseason additions. Everyone has gone to other teams. The Wolves have lost 8 in a row. They lost to New Orleans Pelicans last night. The Wild are second to last place in the Central Division, 2 losses in a row. Delvin Cook is supposedly out for the Green Bay game. John, what's the most disappointing sports team in Minnesota?
Not the Lynx.
No,
Negative
I would say, to be honest, I think it's the Wild. They got a core, they got young guys, but part of the problem is they got too many old guys. They got 2 guys making $9 million a year, strapped us with their cap. We can't dump them. We can't get anything for them. So here you got Parisi and Suter back there. And, even though Parisi is the top goal scorer, he's going to get hurt again. He always does. As far as I hate basketball, so that doesn't matter to me. I just can't watch the sport. I watch college. I can't watch pros. If you want to watch a pro game, just watch the last 2 minutes. Baseball, I love the Twins. I've been a supporter from them, even when they are just horrible.
You were going to say horseshit.
I was going to say horseshit.
And we're going to skedaddle right over to Ryan now. Ryan, most disappointing Minnesota sports team.
Well, I'll try and keep my answer to one team. And so I would have to say the Twins, unfortunately. I grew up as a huge baseball fan and was fortunate enough to get to watch them win the World Series twice. And then we had our great little run when we had Morneau and Mauer and Kubel and Kadire and all this kind of stuff. What I realized with the Twins over the years is they have this great farm system and they can bring up young, talented, dollar menu type players. And as soon as they are good enough, it's like they're off to greener pastures. So last year we set the major league record for home runs. And I think a lot of that had to do with jettisoning the Joe Mauer contract off of our payroll, getting a bunch of $3, $4, $5 million a year guys. But what I don't understand is, and I don't know if this is true, but rumor has it, the Pohlads are the wealthiest family that owns a baseball team, right? Because they own all this real estate and they're, multi-billionaires. Why can't they just spend some damn money to keep the talented players around? And I'm not talking about $324 million contracts like Garrett Cole or, $180 million Joe Mauer contracts, but at least keep some of those middle tier players. Patriots win every year because they have a bunch of, slightly above average players, and they can afford $1 trillion of them. So,
Bryan, do you agree?
I'm actually going to go Minnesota Twins. It's, that one hurts. It's one of the only Minnesota teams that I do follow, that I do like. I'm not originally from Minnesota, but, it's the great farm systems, the #1 draft picks, for an example, like this Royce Lewis kid, phenomenal in the field. He is a game changer, but the kid can't hit. So why can't we get these people to be all-around baseball players, get them up to this level? Not only that, I take it personal because we all had to pay taxes, or a portion of our taxes went to this new stadium. If we got this new stadium, they guaranteed they'd fill the seats. They guaranteed to be fun baseball. And every year we're bottom tier payroll, and the Pohlads have all the money in the world not to go get the Garrett Coles. I get that. Not to go get the Wheelers. I understand that. But what we miss out on in this pitching rotation this year, the time is right now, and we're missing out.
we keep trotting out Uber drivers,
Right. Yeah.
That helps.
Facts.
All right, that was a good round by some.
Here we go.
Obviously, that was directed at me.
I got
John, I gave you 1 point. I gave you 2 points, but I took away a point because you trashed basketball in front of me, and you can't do that.
Ooh.
Know your host.
Know your
I know my host, Mr. Duke, that didn't go to Duke.
Oh, okay. Negative 10 points. Ryan, I gave you 4 points. I thought great comments on people going to greener pastures, the Mauer contract, Pohlads being the richest in sports. Good job. Bryan, I gave you 3 points. Royce Lewis, I love the can hit. I mean, that's a lot of Byron Buxton.
I was going to say Buxton.
Yeah. Stadium taxes. Time is right now. Love it. So that was a really good round. So after 3 rounds, we've got a pretty close we've got Bryan Kerswell has 8. Bryan from Fairway has 8 points. John Selle has 9. Ryan Schroder has 10.
Oh.
Ryan had that big
You're
second
playing favorites.
round. Ryan had that
brown
big...
nosing. I don't mind.
So, 8, 9, and 10. All right. So, basically, everybody's ball game here. And this is going to be the final question of this round. So, you need some points here or you're gone.
You're going to randomly choose who goes first, or do I have to go first again?
You got to go first
Okay.
again.
Fine.
All right. So, some of the ones that I can think of off the top of my head are that you need 20% down to buy. That renting can be better than buy. I don't know if that's one. But anyway, biggest misconceptions about real estate. Ryan.
I would definitely agree with you that people tend to think that they need a lot more money down to buy a house than they do. There are programs that you get a house with only $1,000 down, which is typically less than a security deposit to be a renter. The other thing that I find interesting, a lot of misconceptions that new homeowners, first-time homeowners have, is they don't realize that they have to take care of all of the things that go wrong now. So fixing their water heater and their furnace and roof leaks and mowing their lawn. And I've even had people that we've sold houses to didn't realize they had to change furnace filters and add salt to their softener system. So that's
Wait,
one.
what?
Yeah. And
I got to go.
and just the mortgage process in general, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about, I can't because I don't have good credit or I don't have this or that. I've found that if you can fog a mirror, you can pretty well qualify for a house these days. So
Every lender wants to hear that. Huh?
So,
Brian.
I'm going to stick to the credit side of things. With my background, I have a lot of people that think they need that 700 plus, or they need the 20% down. But sticking to the credit, one side piece is collections, and some people do have collections that are only a couple $100. And other lenders and agents are telling them, well, you need to pay those off. Well, that's a huge misconception because you don't need to pay them off, and your credit score will actually drop if you do pay them off. So there's a quicker, easier, faster approach to get in that home loan with poor credit. And yes, if you have poor credit, chances are we can still get you into a home loan. So I think credit is a big one.
I believe the title side, the biggest misconception is you can choose a different title company. Most real estate offices have built-in title companies, but the customers can shop. There are a multitude of companies that have different pricing out there, and because we're the third wheel in the transaction, clients very, very rarely, maybe never, find out, okay, what are their closing costs? And once they do know their closing costs, can they go somewhere else? Well, they don't. They just stick with the realtor, if it's Coldwell Banker, if it's Edina Realty, if it's RE/MAX. Clients can shop, and they can get better deals out there.
I am not going to finish awarding points for this round quite yet because I want to add on to it and say, what is the most annoying thing about real estate that you experience?
the most annoying thing about real estate that I experience, hands down, is how everybody thinks that they can be a flipper. So I have been doing flips now for about 8 years, about 100 of them under my belt. And for example, and I'm not trying to disparage this person, but I was at Home Depot purchasing a dishwasher, and the lady who was ringing me out said, "Do you have a pro account?" I said, "Yeah." And I give her the information. She goes, "Oh, what do you do?" And I say, "I do maintenance and I do flips." And she says, "Oh, I really want to do flips too, but I'm thinking of doing commercial flips." And I'm thinking to myself, you work at Home Depot, the chances of you having the down payment, the resources, the general contractors, the access to capital, the knowledge and the wherewithal to do a flip, it's a lot harder than it looks. And these damn HGTV shows keep making it look like any old bozo can just rip $100,000. It is hard. It is dangerous, and you need to have at least a couple $100,000. So that just annoys the crap out of me, the whole would-be flipper movement that exists today.
I like it. Bryan.
I think the lack of communication from both sides at certain transactions. I try to be overly communicative with my borrowers, with the agents, but there's times where the agents or the seller's agent, there's things that were never brought up, things that we don't know, things that I find out after basically the clear to close, and like, hey, what about this? And we never knew any of that. Or from the realtor side, just a lack of communication of the process and where things are at during the process from the loan originator. I think it's a key thing that's missing.
Our biggest pet peeve is that the realtor and the loan officer do not read their title commitments. They could have liens, they can have encumbrances, they just don't read it. And then 2 weeks down the line, well, what do you mean you have a lien on this property? Well, didn't you read your title commitment? Nobody reads them. I don't know what it is, why they don't, but that is the one thing I would love to change.
Every closing I've ever had, I print it out and I leave it by my bedside for.
Then you got some serious issues.
All right.
Okay, basketball and title commitments by his bed. There you go, guys.
All right, Bryan, you were awarded 5 points that round. John, you were awarded 4. And Ryan.
7.
No,
Team.
5. 5. Same as you, Bryan. So, does anyone know who won?
That would be me. I was up by 1 on Bryan.
Doesn't that mean John and I tied?
Oh boy, bonus question to see who sticks around. Ryan, you are going to be in the final round.
Ask a basketball question.
These guys are in the toilet bowl here. Got it.
Ask a basketball question.
Bryan versus John. Let me think of a question. I didn't anticipate this. This stinks.
Ask a question about how well they know you.
Chlorophyll. More like borophyll.
What is the number one thing you like about me?
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
All right. What? Here. Oh, this is a good one. Give me the best restaurant/bar in town. Why? And your preferred drink at said restaurant bar. In Minnesota, though. It can't be like in New York or something.
Really? My favorite? I am a huge sucker for a phenomenal burger. B52s and Inver Grove Heights is my jam. That's my spot. They have won the burger battle twice now and follow up a couple times. Phenomenal beers on tap, and they have a choices of about 25, 30 burgers that are just on point.
Mine is Bunny's in St. Louis Park.
This was a layup for both of you guys, but go ahead.
You asked, you asked about my favorite.
Yeah, my favorite is Bunny's, but my second favorite is First Draft.
Why is Bunny's good, John?
I used to work there years ago, and Bunny's has people that you can just walk in, start talking to them, and they'll buy you a drink. They don't care who you are, what you do. It's just one of those neighborhood bars where you don't even have to know the person. You just sit down, start bullshitting with them, and guess what? Yeah, I'll buy you a drink. I'll buy you one. You develop relationships there. I have 40-year relationships because just men and women that I met at the pub, just talking with them.
So it must be nice to be a raging alcoholic sometimes.
It has its benefits.
It's a built-in
You get
social
free
network.
drinks.
Well, and then I get bailed out of jail. I get a free Smart Start.
because I'm worried about you driving home right now. I'm sorry, Bryan. I got to give it to him. He brought up relationships. I love your wife. I know she works there, but I got to go John on this one.
That's crazy.
So if
I had valid points about those burgers.
I thought so, too. I would have
I
awarded it to you.
honestly just need you to just get off the camera now.
A little bit too much camera time over
Go
here.
ahead and see your way out.
Well, I'm going to go to Bunny's then.
There you go.
And I will see you later.
I'll buy you your first drink.
Thank you, Bryan.
And then there were 2.
And then there were 2. So you guys are going to have one round. Winner take all. Again, final round is going to be that person giving their final spiel. So, and that final spiel can be on anything you want. But excluding present company, obviously myself, anybody in this room, this company, VSM as a whole, who is the best person you've ever worked with in real estate, used as a mentor, liking working with them? It can be current person, in the past, doesn't matter. Somebody that, again, has been a mentor to you, great realtor, great lender, great anybody. And I will say John's going to go first on this one.
Stop it. I got in this business 8 years ago, and when I was hired to do this, my boss said, it's going to take you 2 days, 2 weeks 2 months, 2 years to get your first order. And it took me 6 months. But there was a gentleman that I spoke to. He's like, after about 5 months, he goes, "Are you getting depressed? Are you getting down?" And I'm like, "No." He said, come in here and give me your shtick when you go out and meet with clients or potential clients. And I did. And he said to me, "You are doing the absolute perfect job of presenting Cambria Title and what your services are. Don't change a thing." He said, "What you have to do in this business is be relentless. You have to keep going in time and time and time again." I have met men and women 10, 15 times. Have they used us? No. But it's that one time where they don't have a good closing, they might call and say, "Hey, John, I'm going to try you." And he was, he works for Cambria. He's just one of those guys that, I wouldn't say he's a mentor. He works with me, and he just kind of, because I came from Best Buy, a whole different world.
Right.
It was a guy that gave me the more confidence to just keep doing what I'm doing.
Good. Bryan?
My best experience would actually be with clients. So there was a couple that I met at their townhome in Shakopee, Aaron and Bryan Stromley. And I remember that meeting pretty distinctly. I was still the acquisitions manager, so to speak, for VSM Real Estate, and went out and got all of our clients. They had met with 7 other property management companies. I was the 8th, but they liked what I had to say, and they liked that the owner of the company came out to meet with them and all this kind of stuff. So I ended up getting their management business, started a more of a friendship and an advisory relationship with them. I ended up taking 5 different properties that VSM clients wanted to sell and helping them to buy them, as well as buying a few others. Next thing you know, they own a pretty substantial real estate portfolio. They did a cash out refi on that. I helped give them a little bit of advice on buying their own business. Then they bought commercial properties through me as well. And the biggest thing that I learned from this relationship is that the power of their faith and their trust in me to advise them and help them to make good decisions. They've also referred me to countless friends and other people. And by the end of it, we became actually really good friends. I mean, I just got their Christmas card in the mail, and we hang out socially a few times, and that gave me a lot of confidence in general, that relationship, because it showed that these people believe in me, and I performed and I did well for them, and so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you think wins, guys?
That's a wrap.
Sorry, John.
That's okay.
Okay.
Ryan?
Hey, relationships.
Relationships.
Yeah, they're
Tell
kind
him.
of important.
Bunny's relationships,
Important.
client relationships, sometimes the same. Ryan,
Rarely for me, but
take your 1 minute of fame right now and talk about anything you'd like to talk about.
we go into the impeachment. I don't know.
Oh, God, please don't.
No, I won't go and wade into politics. I don't really have anything particular that I want to go over other than that I really enjoy what I do, and being a real estate entrepreneur and owning these different businesses in real estate is like a blessing in my life. And I want to tell people who have any sort of dreams or aspirations to own their own business or do their own thing that your life will be fundamentally changed and improved if you follow that ambition. And if you're ever looking for a mentor or a little bit of advice, you can always give me a shout, because I love to pay that forward and help people. So
Great. Thank you.
thanks.
This wraps up the first ever version of Around the Horn podcast via VSM. Just to remind everyone, Bryan Kerswell did go out first.
Sorry about that.
From Quicken Loans.
I'm still at the table.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.